Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji. Thank you so much for being part of this divine journey wherein you and I get to know more about Yogananda Ji's chronicles, how he met a series of gurus, and ultimately he conveyed this through this beautiful book, Autobiography for Yogi. And so far we have gone to chapter number 20, that we do not visit Kashmir. And today we are going to go through another chapter which is indeed beautiful, which is we visit Kashmir. Okay, so before we begin, I'd like to say that we are also blessed to be in Guruji Sharan, especially on Guruji's birthday, which is 7th of July. And in few days the birthday is upcoming, and we are so indeed blessed to know that our dearest and lovely God is there with us in times of anxiety, in times of stress, in times of overthinking, in times of toxic work. You might be going through a lot of things at office or personal life, or let's say you're driving in the traffic and you are stressed, and something leads to the other and something leads to another thing. But in all these things we are so very blessed that we have Guruji to command and direct us, that we do not really need to think about things that are not in our control. We do not need to care about things that have got no meaning in the end. Ultimately you would realize that the stress that you had was really for nothing. And Guruji always said, and always keeps on saying to me and to all of you through his telepathic messages, through satsangs and through other sangat, that it is really simple to be with Guruji, especially on the day that he was born. 7th of July is such a blessed day for all of us in Guru Pariwar, that we should actually learn to rethink that how can be a better sangat, what can we do to basically make sure that our shraddha, our divine love goes beyond reach. And Guruji really says that yes, this is my true sangat. So I think, having said that, I'd like to say that we are all really all too much blessed to be here, and we are indeed children of destiny. I understand that, but at the same time Guruji has chosen us to do the right things that will remove from us from the karmic debt for which we were sent here. And in this book we will learn a lot about karma. We will learn a lot that why we were sent to this earth to do various kind of jobs, or why were we sent to basically do this action or that action. Ultimately, as you progress in your life, you would realize that it was probably all for nothing, and in the end all I needed to do was, I probably just needed to believe my Guru. So now that you are already into this path, it is the right time to imbibe, absorb, and motivate yourself to just push yourself to continue the path going forward. So having said that, I'd like to begin today's recitation, which is Autobiography of a Yogi, chapter number 21, We Visit Kashmir. In the last chapter, we did learn that Shri Yukteshwar avoided a major mishap in Yogananda Ji's life by making sure that he does not travel, because he knew that Asiatic cholera was going to affect him and he is going to be a lot of pain. But then later on, eventually he understood that that's the reason for him. That was not the right time for him to travel to Kashmir. Okay, so having said that, in this chapter we will get to know that what his guru has actually told him, that how can you proceed towards your journey towards Kashmir. So the first sentence of this of this chapter is, you are strong enough now to travel. I'll accompany you to Kashmir. Shri Yukteshwar informed me 2 days after my miraculous recovery from Asiatic cholera. That evening our party of 6 entrained for the north. Our first leisurely stop was at Shimla, a queenly city resting on the throne of Himalayan hills. We strolled over the steep streets, admiring the magnificent views. English strawberries for sale, cried an old woman squatting in a picturesque open marketplace. Master was curious about the strange little red fruits. He bought a basketful and offered it to Kanai and myself, who were nearby. I tasted one berry but spat it hastily on the ground. It's a very important thing that we will learn right now. Sir, what a sour fruit. I could never like strawberries. My guru laughed. Oh, you will like them in America. At a dinner there, your hostess will serve them with sugar and cream. After she has mashed the berries with a fork, you will taste them and say, what delicious strawberries. Then you will remember this day in Simla. So, this is called a guru's way of knowing what's happening, going to happen in the future. Our Pyare Guruji knows in and out of what's going to happen next. What I'm going to do, say next is also predefined, and Guruji knows that. Okay, so Shri Yukteshwar's forecast vanished from my mind, but reappeared there many years later, shortly after my arrival in America. I was a dinner guest at home of Mrs. Alice T. Hesse. She's dearly called Sister Yogamata in West Somerville, Massachusetts. What a desert of strawberries! When a desert of strawberries was put on the table, my hostess picked up her fork and mashed my berries, adding cream and sugar. The fruit is rather tart. I think you will like it fixed this way, she remarked. I took a mouthful. What delicious strawberries! I exclaimed. At once, my guru's prediction in Shimla emerged from the fathomless cave of memory. It was staggering to realize that long ago, Shri Yukteshwar's God tuned mind had sensitively detected the program of karmic events wandering in the ether of futurity. कितना beautiful line है ये, right? So our party soon left Shimla and entrained for Rawalpindi. There we hired a large landau drawn by two horses, we in which we started a 7 day trip to Srinagar, capital of Kashmir. The second day of our northbound journey brought into view the true Himalayan vastness. As the iron wheels of our carriage creaked along the hot, stony roads, we were enraptured with changing vistas of mountainous grandeur. Sir, Audi said to Master, I am greatly enjoying these glorious scenes in your holy company. I felt a throb of pleasure at Audi's appreciation, for I was acting as host on this trip. Shri Yukteshwar caught my thought. He turned to me and whispered, don't flatter yourself. Audi is not nearly as entranced with the scenery as he is with the prospect of leaving us long enough to have a cigarette. I was shocked. Sir, I said in an undertone, please do not break our harmony by these unpleasant words. I can hardly believe that Audi is hankering for a smoke. I looked apprehensively at my unusually irrepressible guru. Very well, I won't say anything to Audi. Master chuckled, but you will soon see when the landau halts that Audi is quick to seize his opportunity. The carriage arrived at a small caravanserai. As our horses were led to be watered, Audi inquired, Sir, do you mind if I ride a while with the driver? I would like to get a little outside air. Shri Yukteswar gave permission but remarked to me, he wants to fresh smoke and not fresh air. The landau resumed its noisy progress over the dusty roads. Master's eyes were twinkling. He instructed me, crane up your neck through the carriage door and see what Audi is doing with the air. I obeyed and was astounded to observe Audi in the act of exhaling rings of cigarette smoke. My glance toward Sri Yukteshwar was apologetic. You are right as always, sir. Audi is enjoying a puff along with a panorama. I surmised that my friend had received a gift from the cab driver. I knew Audi had not carried any cigarettes from Calcutta. We continued on the labyrinth way, adorned by the views of rivers, valleys, precipitous crags, and multitudinous mountain tiers. Every night we stopped at rustic inns and prepared our own food. Shri Yukteswar took special care of my diet, insisting that I have lime juice at all meals. I was still weak, but daily improving through the rattling carriage, though the rattling carriage was strictly designed for discomfort. Joyous anticipations filled our hearts as we neared central Kashmir, paradise land of lotus lakes, floating gardens, gaily canopied houseboats, the many bridged Jhelum River, and flower-strewn pastures, all ringed around by the Himalayan Majesty. Our approach to Srinagar was through an avenue of tall, welcoming trees. We engaged rooms at a storied inn overlooking the noble hills. No running water was available. We drew our supply from a nearby well. The summer weather was ideal, with warm days and slightly cold nights. We made a pilgrimage to the ancient Srinagar temple of Swami Sankara. As I gazed upon the mountain peak hermitage, standing bold against the sky, I felt I fell into an ecstatic trance. A vision appeared of a hilltop mansion in a distant land. The lofty Shankara ashram before me was transformed into the structure where years later I established the Self Realization Fellowship headquarters in America. When I first visited Los Angeles and saw the large building on the crest of Mount Washington, I recognized it at once from my long past visions in Kashmir and elsewhere. A few days at Srinagar and then on to Gulmarg, mountain path of flowers. That's what Gulmarg is generally known as. Elevated by 6,000 feet. There I had my first ride on a horse. Rajendra mounted a small trotter whose heart was fired with ambition for speed. We ventured into the very steep Gulmarg. The path led through a dense forest, abounding in tree mushrooms, where the mist shrouded trails were often precarious. But Rajendra's little animal never permitted my oversized steed a moment's rest, even at the most perilous turns. On and on untiringly came Rajendra's horse, oblivious to all but the joy of competition. Our strenuous race was rewarded by a breathtaking view. For the first time in this life, I gazed in all directions at sublime snow capped Himalayas lying tier upon tier like silhouettes of huge polar bears. My eyes feasted exultingly on endless reaches of icy mountains against sunny blue skies. I rolled merrily with my young companions, all wearing overcoats on the sparkling white slopes. On our downward trip, we saw afar a vast carpet of yellow flowers, wholly transfiguring the bleak hills. Our next excursions were to the famous royal pleasure gardens of the Emperor Jahangir at Shalimar and Nishan Bagh. The ancient palace at Nishad Bagh is built directly over a natural waterfall. Rushing down the mountains, the torrent has been regulated through ingenious contrivances to flow over colorful terraces and to mountains gush into fountains amidst the dazzling flower beds. The stream also enters several of the palace rooms, ultimately dropping fairy like into the lake below. The immense gardens are ritorous with color roses of a dozen hues, snapdragons, lavender, pansies, popsies. An emerald enclosing outline is given by symmetrical rows of chinars, cypresses, cherry trees. Beyond them tower the white ostriches of the Himalayas. Kashmir grapes are considered a rare delicacy in Calcutta. Rajendra, who had been promising himself a veritable feast on reaching Kashmir, was disappointed to find there is no large vineyards. Now and then I cuffed him jocosely over his baseless anticipation. Oh, I have become so much gorged with grapes I can't walk, I would say. The invisible grapes are brewing within me. Later, I heard that sweet grapes grow abundantly in Kabul, west of Kashmir. We consoled ourselves with ice cream made of rabdi, a heavily condensed milk and flavored with whole pistachio nuts. We took several trips in the shikaras or houseboats, shaded by red embroidered canopies coursing along the intricate channels of Dal Lake, a network of canals like the watery spider web. Here, the numerous floating gardens, crudely improvised with logs and earth, strike one with amazement. So incongruous in the first sight of vegetables and melons growing in the midst of vast waters. Occasionally, one sees a peasant disdaining to be rooted to the soil, towing his square plot of land to a new location in the many-fingered lake. In this storied vale, one finds an epitome of all the earth's beauties. The Lady of Kashmir is mountain crowned, lady garlanded and flower shod. In later years, after I had toured many distant lands, I understood why Kashmir is often called the world's most scenic spot. It possesses some of the charms of the Swiss Alps and of Loch Lomond in Scotland and of the exquisite English lakes. An American traveler in Kashmir finds much to remind him of the rugged grandeur of Alaska and of the Pikes Peak near Denver. These are very beautiful places in the US and the UK. As entries in scenic beauty contest, I offer for first prize either the gorgeous view of Cochimilo in Mexico, where mountain skies and poplars reflect themselves in myriad lanes of water amid the playful fish, or the jewel-like lakes of Kashmir, guarded like beautiful maidens by the stern surveillance of the Himalayas. These two places stand out in my memory as the loveliest spot on earth. This is poetry in motion, Sangat ji. So if you go through this book, you will actually realize that, it is so simply, written that you are actually, while reading it, you immerse so much that you get transformed and transfired into a different place altogether. So I think the beauty of this book lies when you read it slowly and you immerse yourself in such a position that you imagine that you are actually living in the book. Yes, I was awed also when I first beheld the wonders of Yellowstone National Park and of the Grand Canyon of the Colorado and of Alaska. Yellowstone Park is perhaps the only region where one can see innumerable geysers shooting high into the air, performing year after year with clockwork regularity. Its opal and sapphire pools and hot sulphurous springs, its bears and wild creatures remind one that here nature left a specimen of her earliest creation. Motoring along the roads of Wyoming, to the devil's paint pot of the hot bubbling mud, with gurgling springs, vaporous fountains, and sprouting geysers in all directions, I was disposed to say that Yellowstone deserves a special prize for uniqueness. So, uh, Yogananda Ji has traveled quite a bit, after visiting Kashmir, and he's basically, it's written in this book that he is going forward in time and then, making sure that we don't need to relate to the other chapters too much, because it is written specifically that what happened when he went to the US. Okay. The ancient majestic redwoods of Yosemite, stretching their huge columns far into the unfathomable sky, are green natural cathedrals designed with skill divine. Wow. Though there are wonderful falls in the Orient, none match the torrential beauty of Niagara near the Canadian border. The Mammoth Caves of Kentucky and the Carlsbad Caverns in the New Mexico, with colorful isolac formations, are stunning fairylands. Their long needles of stalactite spires hanging from cave ceilings and mirrored in underground waters present a glimpse of other worlds as fancied by man. Most of the Hindus of Kashmir, world famed for their beauty, are as white as Europeans and have similar features and bone structures. Many have blue eyes and blonde hair. Dressed in Western clothes, they look like Americans. The cold Himalayas protect the Kashmiris from the sultry sun and preserve their light complexions. As one travels to the south and tropical latitudes of India, he finds progressively that the people become darker and darker. After spending happy weeks in Kashmir, I was forced to return to Bengal for the fall term of Serampur College. Shri Yukteshwar remained in Srinagar with Kanai and Audi. Before I departed, Master hinted that his body would be subject to suffering in Kashmir. Sir, you look a picture of health, I protested. There is a chance that I may even leave this earth. Guruji, I fell at his feet. With an imploring gesture, please promise that you won't leave your body now. I am utterly unprepared to carry on without you." Shri Yukteshwar was silent, but smiled at me so compassionately that I felt reassured. Reluctantly, I left him. "Master dangerously ill." This telegram from Audi reached me shortly after my return to Sherampur. "Sir, I wired my Guru frantically. I asked for your promise not to leave me. Sir, please keep your body, otherwise I shall also die. Be it as you wish." This was Sri Yukteshwar's reply from Kashmir. A letter from Audi arrived in a few days, informing me that Master had recovered. On his return to Serampur during the next fortnight, I was grieved to find my Guru's body reduced to half its usual weight. Fortunately for my disciples, Sri Yukteshwar burned many of their sins in the fire of his severe fever in Kashmir. The metaphysical method of physical transfer of disease is known to highly advanced yogis. A strong man can assist a weaker one by helping to carry his heavy load. A spiritual superman is able to minimize his disciples' physical or mental burdens by sharing the karma of their past actions. Just as a rich man loses some money when he pays off a large debt for his prodigal son, who is thus saved from dire consequences of his own folly, so a master willingly sacrifices a portion of his bodily wealth to lighten the misery of disciples. Karma in this paragraph is truly justified. It's on page number 215. By a secret method, the yogi unites his mind and astral vehicle with those of a suffering individual. The disease is conveyed, wholly or in part, to the saint's body. Having harvested God to the physical field, a master no longer cares what happens to that material form. Though he may allow it to register a certain disease in order to relieve others, his mind is never affected. He considered himself fortunate in being able to render such aid. The devotee who has achieved final salvation in the Lord finds his body has completely fulfilled its purpose. He can then use it any way he deems fit. His work in the world is to alleviate the sorrows of mankind, whether through spiritual means or by intellectual counsel, or through willpower or by the physical transfer of disease. Now you can relate why Guruji told us to read this book. Escaping on the superconsciousness wherever he so desires, a master can remain oblivious of physical suffering. Sometimes he chooses to bear bodily pain stoically as an example to disciples. By putting on the ailments of others, a yogi can satisfy for them the karmic law of cause and effect. This law is mechanically or mathematically operative. Its workings can be scientifically manipulated by men of divine wisdom. The spiritual law does not require a master to become ill whenever he heals another person. Healings ordinarily take place through the saint's knowledge of various methods of instantaneous cure in which no hurt to the spiritual healer is involved. On rare occasions, however, a master who wishes to greatly quicken his disciples' evolution may then voluntarily work out on his own body a large measure of their undesirable karma. Jesus signified himself as a ransom for the sins of many. With his divine powers, his body could never have been subjected to death by crucifixion if he had not willingly cooperated with the subtle cosmic law of cause and effect. He thus took on himself the consequences of others' karma, especially that of his disciples. In this manner, they were highly purified and made fit to receive the omnipresent consciousness which later descended on them. Only a self-realized master can transfer his life force or convey into his own body the diseases of others. An ordinary man cannot employ his yogic method of cure, nor is it desirable that he should do so. For an unsound physical instrument is an hindrance to God meditation. The Hindu scriptures teach that the first duty of man is to keep his body in good condition, otherwise his mind is unstable to remain fixed in devotional concentration. Guruji always says health is the real wealth. ओके सो एंड ये जैसे वो हमेशा हमें बोलते हैं कि सैर पे जाया करो. So I think body is the temple of the mind, right? So I think it is important that we do make sure that we exercise, go for a walk, do de-stressing by doing yoga if that suits you. But whatever you do, you should be physically active, because if your body falls weak with age, and that's how our bodies are designed, and you lose your muscle tone, and I think eventually you need to, by the time you decide that you want to strengthen it, it's probably too late. So Guruji always says that take care of your body. So I think that is also important. um, A very strong mind, however, can transcend all physical difficulties and attain God realization. Many saints have ignored illness and succeeded in their divine quest. Saint Francis of Assisi, severely afflicted with ailments, healed others and even raised the dead. I knew an Indian saint, half of whose body was once festering with sores. His diabetic condition was so acute that under ordinary conditions he could not sit still at one time for more than 15 minutes. But his spiritual aspiration was undeterrable. Lord, he prayed, wilt thou come into my broken temple? With a ceaseless command of will, the saint gradually became able to sit daily in the lotus posture for 18 continuous hours, engrossed in the ecstatic trance. And he told me, at the end of 3 years, I found the infinite light blazing within my shattered form. Rejoicing in the joyful splendor, I forgot the body. Later, I saw that it had become whole through the divine mercy. Beautiful. A historical healing incident concerns King Babur, 1483 to 1530, founder of the Mughal Empire in India. His son, Prince Humayun, was mortally ill. The father prayed with anguished determination that he receive the sickness and that his son be spared. After all physicians had given up hope, Humayun recovered. Babur immediately fell sick and died of the same disease which had stricken his son. Humayun succeeded Babur as Emperor of Hindustan. Many people imagine that every spiritual master has or should have the health and strength of a Sando. The assumption is unfounded. A sickly body does not indicate that a guru is not in touch with divine powers any more than lifelong health necessarily indicates an inner illumination. The condition of the physical body, in other words, cannot rightfully be made a test of a master. His distinguishing qualifications must be sought in his own domain, the spiritual. Numerous bewildered seekers in the West erroneously think that an eloquent speaker or writer on metaphysics would be a master. The rishis, however, have pointed out that the acid test of a master is a man's ability to enter at will the breathless state and to maintain the unbroken samadhi or samadhi of nirvikalpa. Only by these achievements can a human being prove that he has mastered Maya or a dualistic cosmic delusion. He alone can say from the depths of realization, Ekom Sat, only one exists. The Vedas declare that the ignorant man who rests content with making the slightest distinction between the individual soul and the supreme self is exposed to danger. Shankara, the great monist, has written, where there is duality by virtue of ignorance, one sees all things as distinct from the self. When everything is seen as the self, then there is not even an atom other than the self. As soon as the knowledge of the reality has sprung up, there can be no fruits of past action to be experienced owing to the unreality of the body, in the same way as there can be no dream after waking. Only great gurus are able to assume the karma of disciples. Shri Yukteshwar would not have suffered in Kashmir unless he had received permission from the spirit within him to help his disciples in that strange way. Few saints are ever more sensitively equipped with wisdom to carry out divine commands than my God tuned master. When I ventured a few words of sympathy over his emaciated figure, my Guru said gaily, "It has its good points. I am able now to get into some small gunjis or undershirts that I haven't worn in years." That means because he has lost a lot of weight and has become a lot slimmer than what he was in Kashmir. Listening to Master's jovial laugh, I remembered the words of Saint Francis de Sales: "A saint that is sad is a sad saint." So, beautiful narration, beautiful way of how, what happened, how, they went to Kashmir, and, the eloquence, the beauty, the emancipated way of how, things are actually expressed both in India, UK, and, the US, and many different references have been made. It's just beautiful how we we reach those places where we have probably never been. Some of you might have been there, which is a privilege, but at the same time, Yogananda Ji Paramahansa did all this. Now we are talking about it in 2026, and he had traveled probably a lot of years back, probably in 1930, or when he started, 1920, I think, is the first time he went to Boston, and he delivered his first speech in a ship in English. And at that time, he did not know English. So Shri Yukteshwar gave him a telepathic message that this is how you should speak and this is what exactly you should speak. And he gave a flawless lecture. So I think these things are possible, these things have been done, and these things are reality. We are not supposed to think that everything I touch and feel is real, and whatever I cannot touch and feel is unreal. Is probably the most it's probably not true. Okay, because in Guruji Sharan, as I speak on his birthday, I have personally experienced so many miracles, not just on his birthday but otherwise. Truly, he deserves a shout of applause from our end. He's one of those dearest God that we have received in our life without doing anything. आपने अपने पास्ट में क्या किया है या अपने फ्यूचर में क्या करने वाले हो, it has got nothing to do the fact that आप इतने ज़्यादा blessed हो that Guruji has made sure that you are all round protected, surrounded. There is a shield around you. In your life, if you have trouble, in your life, if you have a war to deal with, in your life, if you have a debate, in your life, if you are being pulled into discussions that you don't like, in your life, if you are, basically dragged into conversations that eventually, are aimed at maligning you, okay, all you need to do is mantra jap. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivji Sada Sahai. Om Namah Shivaya, Guruji Sada Sahai. This is the moon mantra that will basically get your mind straightened out in such a way that you will yourself start saying to yourself, yes, Guruji, you have chosen me, I accept it, and I am going to live through it with all my conviction in you. You have put me into the situation, you are going to get me out of it. I think this is the belief system that we need to start impacting ourselves into Guruji, so that our Guruji knows यही मेरी संगत है, इसी की तो मुझे तलाश थी. तो इतना बोल के आई लाइक टू से हैप्पी बर्थडे डियरेस्ट गुरुजी. आपका ऐसा ही स्माइल, ऐसा ही ग्रैंड, डिवाइन एंड majestic smile is shining on us every single day. When I get up, when I go to sleep, all the time I start to believe that मेरे गुरुजी मेरे आस पास नहीं है, मेरे गुरुजी मेरे अंदर है. That defines the way that I start behaving with everybody who is around me. That defines the way that I respond to a situation. It defines how I drive. It defines how I start respond. As in this book we have already read that how do I respond to external stimuli, right? So आप एक pledge कीजिए गुरुजी के birthday पे that from here onwards, if I am put into a situation which is a test, मैं उसमें I'll come out in flying colors, because टेस्ट में डालने वाला ही मेरा गुरु है, टेस्ट से निकालने वाला भी मेरा गुरु है. तो why should I even be bothered that what is going to happen in the end? Because the more we start thinking about the end result of it, the more we start to overthink. So if you truly surrender to Guruji, बस खत्म बात. There is nothing major to do about it. गुरुजी आपको टेस्ट कर रहे हैं, आपको बस इतना रियलाइज करना है कि थैंक यू गुरुजी फॉर द अपॉर्चुनिटी, आप ही लेके आए हो, आप ही निकालोगे. दिस स्टेटमेंट दैट आई एम गिविंग, it is depicted, mentioned and reiterated in many of Guruji's satsangs, which are actually narrated by Guruji's old Sangat. And of course, if you start reading Guruji's books, there are many times this has been mentioned, the power of surrender. हम लोग यहाँ पे कार्मिक डेप्ट रिमूव करने ही आए हैं, एंड गुरुजी हमें यही बोल रहे हैं कि मेरे ऊपर विश्वास करो और छोड़ो, लीव एवरीथिंग एल्स. तो इतना कह के जय गुरुजी, शुक्राना गुरुजी, एंड बी इन हिज डिवाइन शरण एंड बी ऑलवेज बी रेडी टू फॉलो हिज हुक्म. गुड, बैड, अगली, वर्स्ट, वॉट एवर इट कम्स योर वे, जस्ट बिलीव इन वन थिंग. आप गुरुजी को एक ही चीज़ दे सकते हैं, वो है आपका प्यार, नथिंग एल्स. सो इतना बोल के ओम नमः शिवाय, शिवजी सदा सहाय. ओम नमः शिवाय, गुरुजी सदा सहाय. जय गुरुजी, शुक्राना गुरुजी, एंड हैप्पी बर्थडे गुरुजी.